Speak this tonight and wake up a magnet for wealth. Florence Scovel Shinn. Tonight, as you prepare to enter the sacred realm of sleep, you stand at the threshold of infinite possibility. The words you speak in these precious moments before unconsciousness takes hold possess a power so profound that they can reshape the very fabric of your financial reality. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this truth when she declared that the spoken word is man's most powerful agent for manifesting. And tonight, you will harness this divine principle to become an irresistible magnet for wealth. Your subconscious mind, that faithful servant of your deepest beliefs, never sleeps. While your conscious mind rests, your subconscious continues its eternal work of creating your tomorrow based on the last instructions you gave it today. This is why the moments before sleep are sacred. They represent your final opportunity to program your inner world for abundance rather than scarcity, for prosperity rather than lack. Consider the magnetic power of iron filings drawn to a magnet. They do not struggle or strain. They simply align with the magnetic force that calls them. In the same way, when you align your spoken word with divine truth, wealth flows to you with the same natural ease. But here lies the great deception that has kept humanity in financial bondage. We have been taught that money is scarce, that we must struggle for it, that only the fortunate few can possess it in abundance. These are lies that Florence Scovel Shinn spent her life dismantling. The truth is this: you are already a magnet. The question is not whether you attract, but what you attract. Every word you speak carries vibrational frequency, and like attracts like in the spiritual realm, just as surely as it does in the physical. When you speak words of lack, I can't afford it. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'm broke. You magnetize more experiences of financial limitation. But when you align your speech with divine truth, declaring, God is my supply and my supply is inexhaustible, you activate the spiritual law that must bring wealth into your experience. Tonight, you will learn to speak the language of prosperity that Florence Scovel Shinn mastered. You will discover that your voice is not merely sound waves moving through air, but a divine creative force that shapes your material world. The Bible declares, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and nowhere is this more evident than in the realm of finances. Your financial life is a direct reflection of your habitual speech patterns, and by changing what you speak, you change what you experience. As you prepare for this transformation, release every limiting belief about money that has ever taken residence in your mind. Money is not the root of evil. The love of money above spiritual principle is the root of evil. Money itself is simply a symbol of exchange, a representation of value, a tool through which divine abundance can flow. When you understand this, you begin to see that resisting money is actually resisting the good that God desires to give you. For too long, humanity has lived under a collective spell of financial limitation, a mass hypnosis that convinces us that there is not enough to go around. This spell was not cast by any external force, but by our own collective agreement to believe in scarcity rather than abundance. Tonight, you break free from this ancient enchantment by recognizing the truth that Florence Scovel Shinn proclaimed, there is a supply for every demand. The spell of limitation operates through inherited beliefs, passed down from generation to generation like a family curse. Perhaps you heard your parents say, we can't afford that, or money doesn't come easy, or you have to work hard for every penny. These statements, repeated over time, become the programming of your subconscious mind, creating what Florence called race consciousness, the collective belief in lack that keeps entire populations in financial bondage. But you are not bound by the limitations of race consciousness. You have the power to rise above the collective belief in scarcity and claim your divine inheritance of abundance. This power lies in your ability to speak truth instead of appearances, to declare divine principle instead of human limitation. When the world says, there is not enough, you say, God's supply is inexhaustible. When circumstances appear to confirm lack, you affirm, I am one with infinite abundance. The transformation begins with recognizing that your current financial situation is not your permanent identity. It is simply the outpicturing of your previous beliefs and words. If you have been experiencing financial struggle, it is not because you are unworthy or unlucky, but because you have been unconsciously speaking the language of limitation. The moment you recognize this truth, you hold the key to your liberation. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that many people remain in financial bondage, not because they lack the ability to create wealth, but because they fear the responsibility that comes with prosperity. Deep in the subconscious mind lie fears of success, fears of changing relationships, fears of being judged for having money when others do not. These fears create internal resistance to wealth, making us unconscious saboteurs of our own financial good. Tonight, you confront these hidden fears with the light of spiritual truth. You declare that you can be prosperous and remain humble, that you can have wealth and use it wisely, that you can experience abundance and share it generously. Prosperity is not selfish when it is aligned with spiritual principle. In fact, your financial success can become a blessing to everyone whose life you touch when you understand that money is simply spiritual energy in material form. The old programming tells you to be practical, to accept financial limitation as reality, to lower your expectations to match your circumstances. But Florence Scovel Shinn teaches us to be metaphysical instead of practical, to see beyond appearances to divine truth. Your circumstances are not your master. They are your servants, waiting to be transformed by the power of your aligned word and unwavering faith. As you prepare to reprogram your financial consciousness tonight, remember that you are not trying to manipulate the universe or force outcomes through willpower. Instead, you are aligning yourself with the natural flow of divine abundance that is always seeking expression through willing channels. You are removing the blocks to receiving what is already yours by divine right. Deep within the heart of creation flows an eternal river of abundance, and tonight you will learn to position yourself in the mainstream of this divine circulation. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that prosperity operates according to spiritual law, not human effort, and that this law is as reliable as gravity when properly understood and applied. The law of circulation declares that what you release with joy returns to you multiplied, and what you hoard with fear stagnates and diminishes. Imagine, if you will, the circulation of your own blood through your body. When the blood flows freely, every cell receives nourishment and life. But when circulation is blocked, cells begin to die. So it is with money and all forms of good in your life. When you allow wealth to flow through you, receiving with gratitude and giving with joy, you become a vital part of the divine circulatory system of abundance. When you grasp and hoard from fear, you cut yourself off from the very flow you seek to preserve. This principle reveals why so many people who desperately need money find it elusive, while those who are already prosperous seem to attract even more wealth effortlessly. It is not because the universe plays favorites, but because those who already have abundance understand consciously or unconsciously the law of circulation. They give freely, invest boldly, and expect returns confidently. Their actions align with divine principle, and divine principle never fails to support them. Tonight, you will align yourself with this same principle by transforming your relationship with money from grasping to flowing, from hoarding to circulating, from fearing loss to expecting multiplication. This transformation begins in consciousness, before it appears in circumstances. You must first see yourself as a channel for divine abundance, rather than a container trying to accumulate and preserve. The spiritual law of abundance operates on the principle that God's supply is limitless, and therefore your supply can be limitless when you align with God's nature. This does not mean becoming reckless with money, but rather becoming fearless in your faith in divine provision. When you truly understand that your source is infinite, you can afford to be generous because you know that giving creates space for receiving. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. Your ability to attract wealth is directly proportional to your ability to envision yourself as worthy and capable of handling prosperity. If you can only see yourself as barely getting by, that is exactly what you will manifest. If you can see yourself as abundantly supplied and generously giving, that becomes your reality. The law of circulation also explains why debt consciousness creates more debt, while abundance consciousness creates more abundance. When you focus on what you owe, you align with owing. When you focus on what you have and what is coming to you, you align with having and receiving. This is not denial of responsibility, but rather a shift in focus from problem to solution, from lack to supply. As you prepare to enter sleep tonight, you will place yourself consciously in the flow of divine circulation. You will release any money that has left your life with gratitude for what it accomplished, and you will open your consciousness to receive the abundance that is already seeking expression through you. You will speak words that align you with prosperity rather than poverty, with abundance rather than scarcity, with circulation rather than stagnation. The greatest revelation Florence Scovel Shinn received was not about techniques for manifesting wealth, but about the true identity of every human being. You are not a mortal creature struggling to survive in a world of limitation. You are a divine being temporarily expressing through human form, endowed with all the creative power of your Creator. When you align your consciousness with this truth, you naturally become a magnet for every form of good, including unlimited prosperity. Your divine identity means that prosperity is not something you must earn or deserve. It is something you are. You do not become worthy of wealth through good works or positive thinking. You are inherently worthy because you are made in the image and likeness of infinite abundance itself. This truth dissolves the guilt and unworthiness that have kept countless souls in financial bondage, despite their desperate prayers for prosperity. The human mind, conditioned by appearances and race consciousness, argues against this truth. It points to your bank account, your bills, your past failures, and says, "See, you are not abundant." But divine truth is not based on appearances, it is based on spiritual reality. In spiritual reality, you are one with all that God is, and God is inexhaustible supply. Therefore, in truth, you lack nothing. This understanding transforms your approach to attracting wealth from begging and pleading to claiming and expecting. You no longer pray from a position of lack, saying, "Please give me money because I need it." Instead, you pray from recognition of truth, saying, "I give thanks that divine abundance is expressing through me now." The first position attracts more lack. The second position attracts abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that most people sabotage their own prosperity through false humility and spiritual materialism. They believe that wanting money is unspiritual, that good people should be poor, that wealth corrupts the soul. These beliefs create internal resistance to receiving the very abundance that would allow them to serve more effectively and live more joyfully. The truth is that your prosperity serves the highest good when it flows from spiritual alignment rather than material greed. When you understand that money is simply spiritual energy in material form, you can receive it without guilt and use it without fear. Your wealth becomes a tool for expressing divine love rather than an object of human attachment. Your divine identity also means that you have unlimited creative potential. You are not limited to earning money through traditional employment or conventional means. You are a creative being capable of bringing forth new ideas, new inventions, new solutions to human problems. When you align with your divine nature, you tap into infinite intelligence that can show you unprecedented ways to create and attract wealth. Tonight, as you prepare to magnetize prosperity through the power of spoken word, remember that you are not trying to get something from outside yourself. You are allowing what is already within you to express and manifest. You are not becoming prosperous. You are recognizing and claiming the prosperity that is your birthright as a child of infinite abundance. This recognition dissolves the struggle and strain that most people associate with creating wealth. When you know who you are in truth, you can afford to relax into receiving rather than fighting to achieve. You can speak words of prosperity with authority because they are not wishful thinking, but acknowledgement of spiritual fact. Tonight, you become an alchemist of the highest order, transforming base consciousness into golden prosperity through the sacred science of spoken word. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that words are not merely sounds, but vibrational frequencies that restructure reality at the quantum level. When you speak words aligned with divine truth, you initiate a process of spiritual alchemy that transmutes lack into abundance, fear into faith, and limitation into infinite possibility. Every word you speak carries within it the power of creation or destruction, blessing or curse, abundance or limitation. The ancient wisdom declares, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This reveals that words are not separate from divine power. They are expressions of divine power when aligned with divine truth. When you speak prosperity into your life tonight, you are not hoping the universe will hear you. You are using the very creative force that brought worlds into existence. The alchemy of spoken word operates through the principle of vibrational resonance. Everything in the universe vibrates at specific frequencies, including your thoughts, emotions, and words. Poverty consciousness vibrates at low frequencies characterized by fear, scarcity, and limitation. Prosperity consciousness vibrates at high frequencies characterized by faith, abundance, and possibility. When you consistently speak words of prosperity, you raise your vibrational frequency until you naturally attract experiences that match your elevated state. This process requires more than positive thinking or hopeful wishing. It demands complete alignment between what you speak and what you believe, between your conscious declarations and your subconscious acceptance. Florence Scovel Shinn called this speaking with authority, meaning that your words carry the conviction of absolute truth rather than the uncertainty of human hope. The spiritual law underlying this alchemy is that your subconscious mind accepts as truth whatever you consistently declare with feeling and conviction. It does not argue with your declarations or evaluate their reasonableness. It simply accepts them as instructions for creating your experience. When you declare, "I am a magnet for wealth," your subconscious begins immediately to arrange circumstances, opportunities, and encounters that will make this declaration manifest in your life. The key to successful alchemy lies in speaking from the end result rather than from current circumstances. Instead of saying, "I will become prosperous," you declare, "I am prosperous now." Instead of asking, "When will money come to me?" you affirm, "Money flows to me easily and constantly." This is not self-deception, but recognition that in spiritual truth, your prosperity already exists and is simply awaiting physical manifestation. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that the most powerful declarations are those that acknowledge divine source rather than human effort. When you say, "I am working hard to create wealth," you align with struggle. When you say divine abundance is expressing through me effortlessly, you align with divine flow. The first statement creates resistance, the second creates receptivity. The vibrational transformation that occurs through aligned speaking affects not only your consciousness, but your entire energy field. As your vibration rises, you begin to attract people, opportunities, and resources that were previously beyond your reach. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with increasing frequency. Ideas for creating wealth flow to you spontaneously. Doors that were closed begin to open effortlessly. Tonight, as you engage in this sacred alchemy, remember that you are not manipulating external forces, but aligning with universal law. You are not forcing outcomes, but allowing divine order to express through your willing consciousness. You are becoming a clear channel through which infinite abundance can flow into the world, blessing not only your own life, but the lives of all who cross your path. Now, in this sacred hour before sleep, you stand ready to activate the full power of your magnetism for wealth. Everything you have learned, the truth of your divine identity, the law of circulation, the alchemy of spoken word, converges in this moment of conscious creation. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that the transition from waking to sleeping consciousness provides a powerful window for programming the subconscious mind. And tonight, you will utilize this window to transform yourself into an irresistible magnet for abundance. As you prepare for sleep, your conscious mind begins to relax its hold on logical limitations and analytical restrictions. In this twilight state, your subconscious becomes supremely receptive to new programming. The words you speak now will penetrate the deepest levels of your being, taking root in the fertile soil of your sleeping consciousness, where they will grow and manifest while you rest. This is the midnight magnetism activation, the moment when your spoken word becomes the seed of your financial transformation. Begin by placing your hands on your heart and declaring with deep conviction, "I am a magnet for wealth because I am one with infinite abundance. Money flows to me easily, constantly, and joyfully from expected and unexpected sources. I am worthy of prosperity because I am a child of divine supply." Feel these words resonate through every cell of your body. Let them vibrate in your bones, pulse through your bloodstream, and illuminate every corner of your consciousness. Continue with the activation by affirming, "As I sleep tonight, my subconscious mind accepts complete prosperity as my natural state. While I rest, divine intelligence arranges all the people, circumstances, and opportunities necessary to manifest unlimited wealth in my life. I wake tomorrow as a magnet that effortlessly attracts money, opportunities, and resources beyond my current imagination." The power of this midnight activation lies not only in the words themselves, but in the consciousness from which you speak them. You are not begging the universe for prosperity. You are acknowledging the prosperity that is already yours in divine truth. You are not trying to become something you are not. You are remembering who you have always been. You are not creating abundance from nothing. You are allowing infinite abundance to express through your willing consciousness. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the most powerful affirmations include elements of gratitude, recognition of divine source, and acknowledgement of immediate availability. Therefore, complete your activation with these final declarations. I give thanks for the wealth that is manifesting in my life now. I recognize that God is my source and my supply is inexhaustible. I claim my divine inheritance of abundance and I accept it now. Perfect right action is taking place in my financial affairs, and the spirit of opulence fills my consciousness completely. As sleep begins to claim your conscious awareness, let your last thought be one of absolute trust in the process you have initiated. Know that as your body rests, your subconscious mind is working tirelessly to align your life with the prosperity consciousness you have just activated. Trust that divine intelligence is orchestrating events beyond your conscious ability to arrange, bringing together all the elements necessary for your financial transformation. When morning comes, you will wake not as the same person who went to sleep, but as someone whose entire vibrational frequency has been recalibrated for abundance. You will wake as a magnet for wealth, empowered by divine truth, activated by sacred word, and aligned with infinite prosperity. The words you have spoken tonight have set in motion a spiritual law that must manifest as increased abundance in your physical experience. Remember that this activation is not a one-time event, but the beginning of a new way of being. Every night hereafter, you can return to these truths, speak these words, and deepen your magnetism for wealth. Each repetition strengthens the neural pathways of prosperity in your brain and reinforces the consciousness of abundance in your subconscious mind. You have learned the secret that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered, that words spoken in faith from divine truth have the power to transform any financial reality. Sleep now in perfect peace, knowing that you have spoken your financial transformation into existence. Wake tomorrow, ready to receive the abundance that is already on its way to you. You are a magnet for wealth, and wealth is a magnet for you.